So there's this guy, Wallace. Wallace is 36 years old, and unfortunately, Wallace was just in an auto accident that left him paralyzed from the waist down. Wallace is still in the hospital, and because he's so young and he can't use his legs anymore, he's angry at the world, and he takes it out on anyone and everyone in any way he can. And the nurses at the hospital have particularly faced the brunt of his anger because he just keeps shitting the bed. And one day, his nurse, Jenny, walks in and sees that Wallace shit the bed, and Jenny says, Wallace, listen, I know you're angry at the world, but this is unacceptable. You could have used the bedpan. You could have called for me or any of the other staff. You're in good enough shape, Wallace, that you could have actually made it into the bathroom. So I'm going to clean it up this time, but this is the last time. So she goes about it, and she cleans Wallace up, takes the linens, and leaves. Next day comes around, and Wallace calls the nurse's bluff, and he again shits the bed. Well, Jenny comes in, and she sees it, and she says, Wallace, I warned you. And she leaves. So Wallace looks down, and he's like, what the fuck? Takes off the sheet, and he throws it, and it goes out the window, and then he starts to take his robe off, and underneath the window at that time is Chester, the town drunk, and he's walking along it, and the sheet lands on top of him, and he, confused and a little tipsy, he takes a second to fight his way out from under the sheet, and he finally throws it off, and he smells his hands, and he smells the shit, and he just takes off running. He's just a block and a half away from one of his favorite bars, and so he turns the corner and ducks inside his bar and sits down, and the bartender knows Chester well, and he can see that Chester is totally shaken, and so without asking, he gets Chester as usual, serves it to him. Hey, Chester, Bud and a shot of Jack. Hey, what's the problem, brother? And Chester takes a second. He tosses back the shot of Jack, takes a swill of the Bud, and he looks the bartender right in the eyes, and he says, "Never believe what just happened, Mac. I beat the shit out of a ghost."